Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. So I'm down here at Drift Park at the moment, and you can see the 86 with the V8 is right behind me. And actually in the previous videos about 86, I think there's a few comments about how to put a V8 into this car. Originally we were going to make auto videos and showing the whole process of putting the V8 into it. However, we got super busy and then we didn't end up showing you guys what it's like, and people were asking, oh, can you walk around the car and show what is needed to actually putting the V8 into the 86. So I thought, answer your question today. Actually, I'm gonna do exactly that, and I'm gonna walk around the car and show you guys what are the tips actually getting the V8 into the car. But without further ado, let's check out this crazy car. And I just love everything about this 86. The 86 or the Subaru BRZ or Scion FRS, whatever you guys call it, is this car here. And it's probably the most tunable car in the recent years, and every tuner out there is trying to get out a car with their own specs. And this car behind me, I think is my spec. Having a Rocket Bunny version 3 look fantastic in the Nado Grey, and as well as having that V8 engine under the bonnet is very, very important. That's where I love it, and so much torque. But without further ado, let me just swing the camera around and I'll show you guys the engine bay. So here we go. It's running a carbon bonnet, and also the full Rocket Bunny version 3, and literally just pop these quick latches and you can open up the bonnet just like this. Alright, let me show you pretty much everything that you need to get this engine transplant in. First of all, you're gonna need LS1 or whatever LS. They're actually pretty much, in terms of fitting, is exactly the same. And I'm just gonna come over this side and show you guys over here without that pole. So I'm gonna explain everything that you need to put in the LS into a FRS or a BRZ, or in this case it's Toyota 86. So usually that when you start with the engine transplant, of course you want to get your engine, your gearbox and everything related to it, and then you can sort of sit in the chassis and dummy it up. And I have done a lot of these conversions with the Silvias, and what I can tell from the first time just literally having the engine sitting in there, I can tell this engine is a lot happier sitting in this chassis rails. And as you guys can see, this is the chassis rail from the left, and I'm running a factory extractors from the LS one, and you guys can actually see how much gap you have right there. Let me just zoom in so you can see it clearly. So all those gap between the chassis rail here and there, that means you don't have to do anything about custom make your extractors and stuff like that. On this side is huge, you can see it's huge. And so number one, you don't need custom extractors if you want to save on a budget and you want to sort of just get a factory one in, and I confirm that there's 100%. So my car is right-hand drive, but I think that's gonna apply same with the left-hand drive. So I've just zoomed in right here, and it is a little bit hard to see, but you guys can see right there, that's the steering column, and that shaft goes into the rack which is behind here. So I'm running the vice fab kit, which come with a mounting bracket for the steering rack. Actually it's a S13 steering rack to fit into over here, and with that in place you don't have to do anything pretty much. And usually with the Silvia, where the steering column is coming out is a lot higher, so instead of being here, it is like right there where poking to your starter motor. So number two, there's a big save. You don't have to do anything, relocate your starter motor. And for you guys left-hand drives, obviously you don't have that problem on this side. And what I have gearbox wise, I have a T56 out of a Holden Commodore, and those gearboxes are quite long. So if you look at here, let me zoom it in for you. So that's where, well, pretty much here is where the original shifter comes out, and literally we just made a slightly bigger hole, and the gearbox come comes back over here. So funny enough, so when you come to the V8 transplant, usually you know, with the Silvia tunnels, it's super small, super tight. Even fitting a RB 25 box is super tight. You probably need to smash it out, and especially with the, you know, that initial sort of curve, try to get gearbox through is super hard. But with the 86, it's super easy. So the opening of the tunnel is massive and actually has a lot of space. And when you slide the gearbox through, it pretty much clears everything. But there's a couple of those the braces that sort of supports the tunnel, those slightly sticking out. So you do need to sort of just spot drill those out and taking those braces out, and then that's pretty much all you need, really. And the engine and the gearbox will slide in. Right, so that's what I mean by having a big tunnel. Not sure you guys can see here. So let me zoom in. So you can see, you know, there's huge room between the engine and the bell housing and onto that. All right, it's a little bit hard to see, you know, like where the bell housing and where the tunnel is, but you know, that fits so nicely and so easily. And after, you know, you dummy it up and slide your engine into place, and that's when you make the engine mount. So same with this case, and we made it super simple too. As you guys can see, this engine mount right there, it is a little bit dark, and let me just get focus on there. Alright, so here is the engine mount. So from the engine we have a couple of tubes coming out of it, and then we made the bracket actually is mounted onto the subframe, and we have like a bush over there. And we have tried to move the engine sort of relatively to the back, and as you can see from the towers, it's probably in the middle of where it's supposed to be, and not super tight at the back, but it's definitely quite tight. And in the front just give us enough room. So after you got the engine in and you got a gearbox all mounted, which is just custom mount the engine mount, and you're gonna start playing with everything, you know, on the outside of the engine. So that requires plumbing, that requires getting your exhaust done, that requires, you know, everything, fuel, oil. And with the LX1 it's pretty simple, right? So we have the fuel regulator over here, so just right straight onto the fuel rail, and then that goes into the pump pretty much, and also the filter in between. And with the radiator, we just custom made a big radiator that's from Cardwell's, and DKM has done some fabric work making a higher feeler bottle pretty much. And it's just a simple oil catch tank, intake, exhaust out from the back, and all that is pretty straightforward. Steering wise, I'm quite excited. So I'm running the Passion Max coilovers, so that's the ones over here, and I'm running like a full front wide swap angle kit, and this car makes a lot of angle, so that's I'm quite excited about. So just like I just said, like compared to other engine V8 transplant, and V8 into the 86 actually super simple. So if you are already done some engine transplant like in the Silvia, you'll find in the 86 as like a breakthrough. It's just like it's made for it. It's like a home with a V8 and in that engine bay. So if you guys are planning to do that, definitely say do it. It's actually gonna be a super nice car. It's quite different from the Silvia ones. You know, everybody's having Silvias and having different engines in there, but having an 86 actually is really cool, and actually driving the new sort of style, suspensions, etc. I'm quite excited about it, and I had a lot of fun before. So yeah, with the mechanical, it's pretty much, you know, not as hard as that I would expect, and I think that if you guys want to do it, it's definitely doable. But after you drop that engine, because we stripped the whole car, is not going to be a road legal car. We don't have anything. We don't have any wiring. We don't have anything to make it run. We are not planning to run any 86 wiring anyway. So usually we are just going to make a complete new loom, engine loom into ECU, and make a completely body loom. So I think this is the easiest way pretty much, and I'll show you guys what's inside the car look like. So if you just open up right here, you guys can see my cleaning cloths. All right, always keep the car clean, that's very important. And I have a couple of seats and harnesses, but where the car operates from here is super simple. So obviously I have a deep dish steering wheel, and we actually run dash 2 in all of the cars. So these dashes are super good, and only just displaying like what we need, like the rev, the temperature, or like with water you can get oil temperature and the oil pressure. That's most important. And you can also wire it up to display your fuel and fuel level, I mean. And that's pretty much all I need really for a V8. And I'm running a Switch Pro, so right here is the switches. So literally these are solid states and things. I'm not expert of explaining this part, but really just have a kill switch and I can start up the car, and that's how simple it is. It's not many fuse, and by having a super simple wiring, it's really, you know, simplifies you potentially have any problem later on. You don't need to worry about it, and you just like basically have it as your basic function. Cranks the engine, turn off the car, and kill the battery, and that's all I need, especially with V8. And I found like that works 100%. So I get Richard wire up all my cars, and I've been liking them so far. And also, you know, answer a couple of questions by just walking around the car and show you guys what it's like in having that V8 sitting in there. And as I said, if you guys have any question, make sure you comment below, and so I can answer your questions. And but other than that, subscribe to the channel, like and share, and that's pretty much gonna be the end of this video, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow.